Hi, welcome back. I'm Leslie and this is Katie, and we are We the Parents. And we are coming today to talk to you about some fun local stuff going on. Katie, we were on a campaign together early on in our blossoming activist roles.
I know where you're going with this. Okay.
And we had made some claims that there are certain people who are in power in Shasta County who have stayed in power because they like to, and again, I'm going to use that word, disenfranchise the voters by playing this weird game where they get appointed to a position and then they wait till midterm to resign or retire or whatever and appoint or have a successor appointed that they've groomed for that position. They've listed as this is the most qualified individual or whatever. And this has happened in many key political roles in our county, many key leadership roles in our county. And we were on a campaign early on and we said, this person's been in power so long. And this person has no intention of finishing out this term. And they are going to retire. And they are going to try to appoint their successor so that Shasta County then feels like, oh, well, they were just appointed, so let's not run somebody against them yet. And they must be the one that is the most qualified. And so, why bother? But that thinking and that mentality has kept these same people in power in these key roles for too long.
And just so everybody just fully understand, Judy Flores is no victim in this referendum on her because she now, on the day she slapped down her resignation letter, also accepted a gigantic pay increase, which you're
8%.
saying...
on top of what she had already just gotten right before that election, along with some of those other key positions doing the same thing. So
it's just crazy that she has the nerve to do this.
Right.
To take on this pay increase on the same day that she's saying, I'm going to resign. Judy Flores, in online, which is a year behind. This is prior to the big increase. She is reported at $278,635.72. And she has no contact, really, with children. I mean, she might show up and give out, a little tiny plaque or show up at graduations. It's ridiculous. There are people in the trenches, getting kicked, their hair pulled, bit. They deserve more appreciation. She does not deserve this. She is more of an elected official role where she's more of a figure, and it's not like she's out there doing the work. This is ridiculous, and I don't know why when I put it out on posts to people, the same people who were upset that the Board of Supervisors wanted a raise after 1980 something.
A 3% raise after a 20-year period with no raises. They are fine with the fact that she's getting an 8% raise after just getting one 18 months ago.
I think it was a year ago, and it was 14%.
It was astronomical because it was the same time that the ROV got that like $70,000 raise, and the DA and the sheriff and all of them got.
Judy Flores, $278,635.72. Adam Hillman, $263,111.50. Michael Freeman, $243,847.66. It just goes, I mean, before I even hit the 100,000 mark, I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people down. So you're looking at 9 people in that office that are making over $200,000. And they all got this pay increase, and now she just got it. And she resigned. And we knew she was going to resign. And the only reason she stuck out this year was for the people in that office, for the staff, because she wanted that board to have the ability to appoint the next superintendent, which is what we campaigned on.
And we said that over and over and over again. We said the reason she came into power was she was appointed. The reason she has stayed in power is because people were asleep at the wheel and not even realizing what that position did. But we said she is going to resign while in office, while in this term. She is going to retire and appoint your next superintendent. If you want to say in who your next superintendent of schools in Shasta County is, you want to say in whose feet you can hold to the fire and say, this is what we want for the students of Shasta County. This is your chance to elect somebody who's going to do this. She proved when she resigned.
And we thought it would take 2 years. It was one.
She did it faster than we thought she would. But the reason that's so annoying is she swore up and down. You guys, this is ridiculous.
How dare you say that?
Insinuate this is insulting. Told you so.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's. Can I just say? Neener, 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 we told you so.
Well, and here we are. My biggest thing is that I want to tell people out there that applications are being received right now for her position. Mm-hmm. Clearly, it's a great pay.
Yeah. If you want to make $250,000 for being the figurehead of something that has an entire team of people that work under you and do all the work for you.
Also get paid big bucks.
Yeah. Then $250,000 a year.
It's more than that though, because I heard in listening to one of the meetings that she also gets like mileage for her car. She gets her cell phone paid for. She gets like some kind of extra
there's all
money.
kinds of added bonuses.
Tons. Sometimes she has to go to Sacramento, things like that. So, I mean, we're selling it here. This is a great job.
If you have application your admin credentials, you need to apply. If you have ever thought, hey, maybe I could be a superintendent. Hey, maybe, or you're a superintendent who's running successful school districts. We'd love to have you come apply in Shasta County because Shasta County needs your help.
So we have a overbloated, way opulent situation going on here. They, my husband being on the board has uncovered that they were having soirees and parties and money that they were spending on themselves, having get-togethers that suddenly stopped for some reason. I think maybe we were exposing that or something. I don't know. Something was going on with that. That there has been, obviously you can look at the pay. I also challenge, I'd love, to hear how Shasta County Office of Education has impacted you. What are things that are going well? We would love to hear about that. What are things that they're doing that, besides, listing out touch points, because touch points, we want to see results for those items,
and we're not against the Shasta County Office of Education. Let's just put that out there right now.
Kind of feel like they're a little irrelevant, but
there are many, many, many people in that office, and there are many, many, many people in that department that do a good job and do good things for Shasta County. We want to see the voters have a voice. We want to see transparent leadership. We want to see somebody who is going to be honest and open with the community that they serve. And that's what it is. You're an elected official. You serve the community.
And we'd like to really see those parameters and what is being done and what is being done well. And what are their main objectives? What are their you look at their website, it's like list of platitudes and things that are really, really just not anything you can really see or tangible things. And then with everything with politics being so involved, all the conversations about, the initiatives where they're keeping parents out, obviously very important issues. But, I really wish the state wasn't pushing this stuff on us so that our county could talk about the things that our county actually cares about, which is getting these services. What are they? How can we help our kids? Recently we had some issues we talked about on our show about head lice and, other things where kids don't have access to things that they need at home. How can we, work with these different agencies to get the kids what they need or provide that accountability that the parents need to provide those things for their children. So I want to see both. But where is this going? What are we doing? And so what I'd like to see is a superintendent that does that job and spends time in front of the public, just talking about the things and the directions that Shasta County Office of Education would like to take us. And then the other big issue on the county that a lot of people are not understanding how important this is and how much this impacts them, which is the redistricting board. There's a meeting tomorrow night at Shasta Union High School District. If it goes anything like Anderson's board or any of the other boards that Enterprise, then they're going to change their voting system. Now, this is a very big deal, and I hope that you understand when I say they're going to change how you vote for your officials, your elected board members onto your boards. Now, that very, very heavy issue. They are changing it from voting at large to voting within smaller district areas. There's pros and cons to both. I'm not giving my opinion on that, but where I'm going to really hone in on this and that everybody needs to understand is that this redistricting board is taking your ability to make that decision off the table. Because currently California law says that if we are going from voting at large to voting within districts, that needs to be a vote of the people on the ballot, similar to what we're trying to get these ballot initiatives for the people to vote for. But they currently have an ed code which allows for a provision, a tiny spot within the ed code that allows for this redistricting board, which was appointed, does include a lot of your Shasta County Office of Education trustees on the board, but kind of a not elected. So I'm just going to say not elected. And they have now the power to take that ability for you to vote for that away. And that is the part that I have a hard time with. And it's about to happen at Shasta Union High School District tomorrow night. And it's going to at U Prep in the normal boardroom there. I don't know what time, 5:30 or 6-ish.
Tuesday, December 19th, just because this will probably air Tuesday morning. We want to make sure that we're saying this is happening Tuesday, December 19th.
Correct. Yeah, good job.
In the evening at UPrep. We will post a link in the comments, I'm sure. Your husband's really great about getting information out to the public. So
I want you guys to understand, though, just from me, I haven't looked into it enough to have an opinion as to whether I want voting at large or voting in smaller districts, like similar to what Gateway has, where they have individual trustees for the different areas, or if you voting at large, the majority of them around here are voting at large. So Anderson Union High School District, prior to this decision, used to all of them voted for all of their trustees. Mm-hmm. And now it's going to be more restrictive. And so, like I said, no opinion either way. I don't like that the people don't get to have voting on this in a very democratic way where it would be all of us within our school districts making that decision on a voting basis. So,
and again, you at the beginning of this podcast pointed out the discrepancies in opinion when it comes to giving a raise to educational leaders and stuff versus our board of supervisors. If our board of supervisors was to get together or make a committee that made a decision this impactful on the voters, there would be huge outcry of they're trying to take our rights away. They're trying to do this. They're trying to stop our democracy from working out. This is what's happening. The education system, and so many people are just so quick to like blow it up and like, oh, there's no solution, let's just end all of it. What people fail to understand is the education system is just like any other government entity, and it runs the same. You need to voice your opinion because they work for you. You need to treat it like any other governmental organization. And you need to show up to these types of meetings when they affect you the same way you would with the Board of Supervisors. You need to hold them to the same standard you would with the Board of Supervisors. I have sat through, I don't know how many meetings where I've watched appointed board members at the SCOE office, appointed leaders at the SCOE office, make a mockery of the constituents and of the public there voicing their opinion and voicing their grievances. And nobody has an outrage and an outcry the way they would if it was one of our board of supervisors. Because people don't understand they're exactly the same. They work for you. They're elected officials who work for us, the people. And that same level of urgency, that same level of accountability needs to be held to them. So I urge you to start showing up to the meetings, whether you show up tomorrow or whether you start showing up to your next board meeting, your local board meeting, whether you start showing up to SCOE board meetings. You need to be involved. You need to know what's going on in these situations, and you need to start holding the people whose feet need to be held to the fire accountable.
Here's the other, back to what while you were talking, if the Board of Supervisors were to say, you don't get to vote, we are now a charter county, whether you like it or not, it's happening, charter county, and we're not putting it on the ballot.
They could do that. They're choosing to allow the voters
would make
to do that.
A lot of people very pissed off. That's what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening. And that's where I was trying to make that connection, is they have that ability.
You're 1,000% right.
Vote. They have, that is within the scope of their duty that they can say, 4-1, we outvote you. We're now a charter county, deal with it. They're not going to. They've chose to make that a ballot issue where the public gets to vote. Do you want to be a charter county? Because our board of supervisors cares what the voters think. That's why they allow you your 3 minutes uninterrupted. That's why they allow you unlimited open public comments time, where none of these, I won't say none, some of them do, but a lot of these school board meetings even are like, yep, nope, we've heard enough, we're done. They need to understand their government the same. And you need to start holding them accountable the same way you would any of the board of supervisors.
So, Leslie, this is going to totally blow you away. The same board that chose to take away voting at large for Anderson and Enterprise then met together and chose not to do it for themselves.
Oh, right.
And then that was at that moment when we heard about the ed code, we heard about the fact that it is a choice. Before that,
right,
Enterprise was told it's not a choice. Anderson was told it was not a choice. And yet the SCOE board made it a choice for them.
Right.
And now we have one more happening on Tuesday night. And like I said, I don't have an opinion because it's not really something I've really delved into. But I think the people would, if there was enough time, we would have people debating the issue, experts coming in and talking about the pros and cons of both. That's what I would like to see, sunlight on the issue. It's one of those situations backdoor, where no one showed up.
That's crazy, because that's exactly what you're saying. You said I'd be shocked. I'm not shocked, because I've watched the SCOE board and how they act, and I'm telling you, I've only seen one other elected official, and she sits on the board of supervisors, make those types of faces at their constituents and show a complete lack of respect for the people they work for. The SCOE board is terrible about that. They don't care that they work for you. They want to rubber stamp what they want to rubber stamp. They want to push through what they want to push through. And they are the prime example of it's good for thee, not we. And so the fact that you said that they were like, oh, yep, nope, Anderson, this is how it's going to be. Enterprise, this is how it's going to be. Oh, us? Oh, sorry, no. Shasta, we'll talk about that. Really? Yeah. I'm not shocked. I want to be shocked. But I'm not shocked.
I just want to try to wrap my head around the why of the situation and try and figure out.
Again, same as you. Like, I can see pros to redistricting. I can see cons to redistricting. I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I'm in a weird, wonky district area where I touch multiple school districts. And so maybe it makes more sense in my area for that to be how it's done. But I don't know, and I don't have an opinion, because we have an open county where I can choose to send my kids where I want to send them. And so I think a lot of parents are in that seat where they're like, well, I get to choose where they go to school, so I'm not going to pay that much attention to the local politics of it. But you wouldn't do that same thing with your board of supervisors. You wouldn't say, well, I get to choose to shop and hang out in Anderson, so I'm not going to care about what's happening in District 1. Because if you're not paying attention to what's happening in District 1, that person's voting on behalf of you. And that's why we have, as we're driving down to Hamish Street in Reading at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 different people sleeping on the sidewalk at 5 in the afternoon. Like, things in Shasta County are not looking great because people are holding the wrong feet to the fire. People are picking the wrong battles. And this is the future of our kids. People need to start getting involved and paying attention.
I think some people might think it's boring, and
it is boring.
It's so boring.
Board meetings are supposed to be boring. The people who come in and make it about them and create a circuits so that they can get famous on TikTok and so that they can get likes and views or so that they can get notoriety in local trash rags are not the norm. Board meetings are boring. Politics are supposed to be boring. I will tell you, I quit youth sports to join politics. There's less politics in politics than there is in youth sports. It's boring. It's supposed to be boring. It only gets exciting when people create controversy and people create circuses. But the nuts and bolts of it is boring. But that outrage also ignites people's passion, and people need to be passionate about what's happening to the future of our education system, of our county, of our state, and of our country if we are going to keep the foundational principles that we were founded on.
Well, I think people need to understand, I think we live in a world where we're just seeking out excitement in everything that we're doing, and everything has to be wonderful and exciting. But the reality is, looking at redistricting schools or changing voting at large to, tiny little sections, you can say, oh, that's boring, I don't care. But it affects you. It affects your daily lives. It affects your children and who represents you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And your representatives are supposed to be representing you and your wishes. And one of the best things that I've ever heard is eternal vigilance is the only way that we're going to continue having our freedom. And we have to we can't be just small children always seeking out the most exciting thing. And if it's not there, then creating it so that helps us to stay involved. That's not where we're at. And really, the truth is, at the end of the day, when you see the work that you've been doing and the things that you've been putting into it for your community, there is reward there. And it is not fast. It's not easy. It's not the dopamine, surge shot in the arm that you would get by, getting involved in a troll. It's going to be something that's rewarding, long lasting, and affects your community for, and protects your community, because the people who are in power right now may not always be in power. And it may be somebody that you don't like. And so you can't let one side or the other, it doesn't matter which side they are on, gain too much power and become dictators. And we have a group of people, which I call the gatekeepers in our county, that are going through and they're resigning early. Right. And they're pointing their counterparts, their best friends, and they're stacking boards so that they can give, golden handshakes.
And they're selling it to you to maintain this lifestyle as we are doing this because it's a proven process and this person is the most qualified. Look at this new candidate is not qualified because they've never served in that position. Well, by that standard, you would never get change. You would never see growth. You would never see any type of accountability by the standard of only the people that we appoint are going to be qualified. Only the people that we say, and they're selling it to the masses and people are buying it. You have to get out. You have to do your own research. And if you don't like the candidates that have been put forward in the past, go apply or go find somebody that you do feel is qualified and have them apply.
Change is needed.
Change is needed no matter what. And you have to get involved. John Knight said it today on his show, but the days of sitting back and letting somebody else do the work and get the victory for you are over. We now live in a society where it is time to stand and get involved. It is time to do something, because if you do nothing, that is when that very small minority group of radical extremists come in and take over.
And just to break this down for you, Judy Flores did not want to run. This is what we think is happening here. She didn't want to run. She wanted to be done. The people, which, I mean, I guess you call them, just the people that she hired and the coalition that she put together within her office that are all making these big, big bucks, said, please, 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 please run. Because if somebody else who doesn't agree with us or doesn't want us to be their coalition will come in here, they're going to be able to just clean house and fire people and make all things new, because they're going to want their own coalition of people to drive their own agenda that they got elected on. So they said, please, 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 Judy. And if you stay here for the 1 year or 2 years or whatever it was, and if you help us keep you so that we can elect our person later on that will keep us with our cushy jobs, then we will give you bumps in pay along the way, so that then when you go out with lots more money. And repeatedly, you see this happening. You will see before these people step down, after the incumbent has won, and then they step down, you will see, it's follow the money. There's bumps in pay. And the reason is because the establishment wants to stay the establishment.
And the same thing happened we have to wrap this up, but the same thing happened in the sheriff's office. In fact, the sheriff sent out an email, which I thought was pretty damning. And had I been a voter just doing my own research and not tied to a campaign, based on his email out internally to the office that said, I got this significant pay raise, so it's going to be effective whether I retire now or I get elected, I lose the election, I'm going to be good. an attitude like that doesn't say he's there to serve the community. An attitude like that says, I got what I wanted. And, I'm not worried about what the future looks like for the people of Shasta
It looks
County.
like a quid pro quo is what
It really does.
Somewhat looks like that.
And especially when that same department and he's saying, oh, I've got this cushy whatever, but we don't have the staffing or we don't have the money, so we're going to close an entire level of a jail. That to me looks irresponsible. But then, that blame gets again shifted to other people like the Board of Supervisors and not department heads and county heads who decide to misplace money by giving these huge jumps and huge increases. I mean, Judy Flores was already making more than most superintendents in the entire state and is now getting another raise just to retire. I mean,
she definitely was making a lot more, even with people who have, Jim Clooney has, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 times the number of students under his belt that he's taking care of, running, making sure. He's got so much work on his plate, and yet she's blowing him out of the water with her pay.
And we have other superintendents in the county that are acting as superintendent, office staff, teacher. Like they're taking on multiple hats, multiple roles, and barely staying afloat to keep their schools afloat. And she's like, "Oh, cool! Thanks for another raise. By the way, I'm retiring."
So say we need you, regardless of, we're not selling this as exciting, but we are selling this as necessity of our lives.
I'm excited to say we told you so. I'm sorry. I am very excited to say Katie and I told you so.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. The rest of it is very somber. It's time to get involved. It's time to start paying attention.
Yeah, let's go, Shasta County. We got this. We've got to get into these board meetings. We got to show up, and we got to be the squeaky wheel, and we got to hold these elected officials accountable for the stuff that they're doing.
Yep. All right. Goodbye, Shasta County. We appreciate you, and we will be back.